Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I wanted to share with you some gameplay from my favorite of the 3 regular multiplayer maps in DLC2, which is Egypt. This one I just had by far the most fun playing. I like the setting, I like the aesthetics, and I like the overall design of the map for multiplayer. However, before I talk about the things I like, I'm going to swap gears and get a little bit of negatives for you and offer my first impressions, because my first round or two on this map, I honest to God hated it. It's very, very bright outside because you're out under the pyramids by the Sphinx in the Egyptian sun. HDR is ramped up, very white, harsh, bright lights. When you go inside, it's very, very dark. Enemies can sit in corners, they can hide, and in some rooms it can have a very orange tinge to it because you've got the torches on the wall and you've got it's bouncing off the red sand and stuff like that. I had a smidge of glare on my TV and I was playing with my HDMI settings and I was kind of having a hard time seeing what was going on, but after changing my settings a bit, shifting my body to block the glare, and learning the map, I had a much better time with this. Once I got my settings right, I really enjoyed it. So if you're playing at home, do take the time to set up your brightness settings, or it can be kind of a pain in the butt. But once you learn the map, I think that you'll find that it is one of the best maps in DLC2, and I think that it would be best described as a 4-lane map. Far left and far right are both big outdoor areas that are designed for assault rifles and some sniping. The area with the plane crash is probably more for sniping and for very long engagements because it's a plane crash on top of a tomb, so you can run on the plane, over the tomb, hide in the tomb, and there's big perches on both sides. On the other hand, you can fight under the Sphinx, which is sort of a rising hill in the middle, so you fight up to control the middle area and then look down at people, but there's a hole you can drop into like a hidden chamber and use to transverse the map. But the middle lane is a very straightforward, indoor, dark, clustery SMG death trap inside of what I assume to be an Egyptian temple room or some sort of religious ornate room. It's right in the middle of the map and it's very straightforward. That's basically your SMG bounce house. However, there is a 4th lane that runs perpendicular to all of them, so you can jump into the hole by the Sphinx, go through a hidden chamber, drop through another hole, and then go across the middle room and then pop out by the airplane crash. Or conversely, you can run across the airplane crash into the middle room and then climb up back into the hidden chamber and pop out by the Sphinx. So that kind of adds some quirkiness to it, and I really do feel that that is a lane unto itself. Most of the time you'd say it's a 3-lane map with little shortcuts, but this time all the shortcuts chain together into an own lane. Since you're digging down, you're plundering loot, you're doing Egyptian stuff inside the temples and pyramids, there's lots of holes to jump into. Not just the ones that I mentioned, but there's a surprising bit of verticality in this relatively small map. There's lots of rocks to climb, lots of little very twisty corners and little places that people can sit and hide. And normally I hate maps like that. I hate having to look up through the secret hole, and I hate running and not paying attention and falling down, and I hate little zigzaggy corridors because people sneak up on me. But for whatever reason, this map worked pretty well. I was pretty happy with it. It took me a little bit to learn the routes, but once I understood it, I think I started playing much better, and I learned that I think this is primarily a map for submachine guns, shotguns, close quarters combat classes, stuff like that. Yes, you can use assault rifles and snipe if you really want to, but this is one of your smaller maps. It does have lots of flank routes, so having high mobility like airborne or having a lot of grenades like expeditionary are going to be your friends, and the spawns are fairly simple. It's kind of a square map. It's very, very simple to predict where your enemies are going to be spawning. A little bit less simple to predict what path they're going to take, but conversely, it's very easy to flip the spawns, because once you start getting too close, they start flipping. As for modes, this was by far the best search and destroy map of the new ones, and it plays really well on hardpoint. I kind of didn't like Dom because we all fight over the same points, or basically just the middle room, but on hardpoint, when you have to rotate around and forces fights in different areas, it works quite well. And aesthetically, I think the map is very cool. It's got a good color scheme despite the bright dark extremes if you're running HDR. The tombs, the treasure, the sarcophagus, the Sphinx, the hidden room, the cheeky British stuff, it all has a very Indiana Jones feel to it, which after a couple of minutes I took to quite well and I enjoyed a lot. When you get the new maps, I think this is the one that a lot of people are going to play. I think this one and V2 are going to be the ones that people gravitate toward the most, and I hope you enjoyed this sort of breakdown of the map. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the 5 minutes of gameplay, but I am traveling right now. I'm in PAX Boston. Activision flew me out to record at Sledgehammer Games and do some other stuff, and then I had to fly straight from Sledgehammer overnight all the way to Boston with J-Hub farting up the plane. So it's been kind of a trip here, and there's going to be quite a few videos like this coming up with about 5, 6, 7 minutes of commentary and then just some raw gameplay at the end. But if you enjoyed, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.
Good work. Prepare for the next advance. Domination! Remember your training. Make us proud. Capturing Anton. Anton is ours. We have fire superiority. Enemy has Kaiser. Capturing Kaiser. Capturing Bertha. Bertha captured. Counterintelligence airborne. Engaging enemy aircraft. Searching for targets.
Anton is overrun. Need reinforcements.
Recon airborne. Enemy taking A. Enemy contact at Kaiser. Enemy contact at Bertha. Spreading run inbound. Bertha is overrun. Securing Bertha. Enemy recon aircraft in the air. Flak guns firing. Clearing the skies. Capturing Bertha. Enemy mortar fire incoming. Fall back. Hold Bertha. Dropping Fritz X-bomb. Losing objective Bertha. Losing objective Bertha. Bertha is overrun. Enemy recon aircraft in the air. Taking B. Enemy captured Kaiser. Enemy paratroopers in the sky. All positions in enemy hands. Enemy counter recon observed. Ground or aircraft in the air. Closing with Kaiser. Kaiser is ours. Fighter aircraft approaching target. Losing objective Kaiser. Anton captured. Kaiser is taken. Counter-attack. Enemy recon aircraft in the air. Incoming enemy artillery. Get to cover. Enemy mortar fire incoming. Fall back. We need reinforcements. Securing Bertha. Enemy care package observed. Deny the enemy recon aircraft in the air. Enemy bomb incoming. Get to cover. Capturing Bertha. Enemy contact at Anton. Recon aircraft in your area. Enemy holds all positions, correct? Enemy bomb incoming. Get to cover.